The horrible murderer. That's what Sheriff Grady Judd called Shaun Runyon, who's accused of killing 3 people and injuring 1 more. You're watching 10 Tampa Bay This Weekend. I'm Miranda Parnell. Deputies say 7 people were at home when Runyon came in with a baseball bat and a knife this morning. One of them was Runyon's boss. The 2 had argued recently. The house was inside Windsor Island Resort in Davenport. Investigators say Runyon and all of the adults inside the rented home worked for J&B Electric, a contractor in Pennsylvania. Deputies say the group was in Lakeland doing contract work for Publix. Runyon has a history of criminal charges in Pennsylvania, including endangering the welfare of children, strangulation, DUI, and simple assault. The sheriff says their first call came in at 9:44 this morning, which led to what Sheriff Judd called an intense manhunt that led deputies to Runyon at a hospital where he was claiming he'd been sexually assaulted. Tonight, 10 Tampa Bay's Shannon Clough talks to a man who says he crossed paths with Runyon just minutes before the fatal attack began.
Tonight, 3 families are grieving in what Sheriff Judd calls a horrific murder. One man renting a house in this community tells me this morning he saw Runyon with that bat in his hand. This attack just so violent, he didn't want his name out there, but he tells me about this odd encounter. What started out as a typical morning walk
I got up early in the morning before everybody else and I decided to make this walk.
Turned into a strange meeting around 9 this morning.
This guy passed me, like on my right side as I'm walking, and he was like, how you doing?
That guy, he says, was Shaun Runyon.
I saw that he had a bat in his hand and I looked back.
Part of him thought it was odd, but he figured maybe he worked in the community.
I actually thought, because it's a new construction area, so I actually thought he was like a supervisor.
Later, Polk County investigators told him that man was Shaun Runyon, and he was wanted for murder.
At 9:44 this morning, we received a 911 call about a murder.
Investigators say Runyon went into a house where his co-workers were staying with a bat and a knife.
One victim was beaten to death in his bed while he slept. Another victim was beaten significantly. A third victim is deceased on the front porch of the residence.
In total, there were 7 people inside of the house.
He chases a 4th victim into the street and struck him in the shoulder and the back area with this baseball bat. Another man and his wife and his 7-year-old little girl were able to escape the residence without harm.
Sheriff Judd says Runyon knew everyone involved. They were co-workers or family of co-workers. After the alleged killings, Runyon ran.
We saw where he fled from the area through a blood trail.
Sheriff Judd says hours later, Runyon ended up at a random home in Lake Wales, telling people he was raped. They told him to go to the hospital, and that's where he was arrested.
The murderer, the horrible murderer, is in custody, and the community is once again safe.
And Runyon was supposed to be back in Pennsylvania yesterday, and we did try reaching out to his boss at the electric company today, but we haven't been able to make contact. We've also reached out to Publix to ask about their procedures for hiring contractors. Tonight, we are still waiting on those answers.